Okay, we are back rolling live for our 2-day coverage, and this is our final day of coverage at the FPA NorCal Conference in San Francisco. And up next, we have a good friend at this point. We've been industry friends for at least a few years now. We've done some work together. Cameo Roberson, who is the founder and CEO of Atlas Park Consulting.
Yes, Atlas Park Consulting, and it's great to be here, Chuck. Thanks again for having me.
My pleasure. I've been looking forward to this. And we're going to talk today about one of the most, I think, important items for someone looking to go RIA. Because if you have been at a broker-dealer, certainly if you've been one of the big banks, wirehouses for 5, 10, 20 years, you've had everything done for you.
You have, and it's been probably fairly easy.
Yeah.
Things handed to you, do things this way, and when you go RIA, you're entering a whole new ball game.
Right.
And figuring things out on your own.
Now the good news is there are a lot of resources in the field, and you are, in my opinion, one of the best for operations.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
So much so that she has literally co-written the book, and let's see that book.
Yes, Beyond the Broker.
Beyond the Broker.
Navigating Financial Advisory Independence.
Fantastic.
A roadmap, a due diligence resource for advisors seeking independence and really understanding what independence means for them. If it's building your own standalone RIA, taking all the risk and rewards, or tucking into an established RIA, and then what you need to do tactically to get that done.
All right. Well, let's break some of that down.
Happy to.
But first, I do want to do a little sidebar. I love origin stories and backstories. And I asked you real quickly, what's the deal with Atlas Park Consulting? And you had a really good answer. You want to share that before we get into the meat of the conversation?
Yeah, happy to. So when I was building my company, I wanted something meaningful in terms of a name. And I wanted something that was going to be really reflective of who I am as a professional today. But I have a journey, very much like many of your listeners. And when I think about my early years of entrepreneurship, and I grew up on Park Street, so I was making my own money, doing things that really fueled my passion for entrepreneurship. And then when I went to college, I lived in a Parkside Commons where I had my very first job. Everyone, I was a Mary Kay consultant.
Oh,
And
nice.
that taught me so much around
You hustle.
entrepreneurship, the hustle, the sales, the marketing piece. And then when I finally decided to launch my own company, I figured that it was important for me to have something meaningful on multiple levels. And so that's where the park comes in. And the Atlas, when you think about direction, showing people how to get to their next level of success, atlases are very directional. And so the Atlas Park is where I help professionals reach their next level of success in their business.
Absolutely love
There
that.
we
What a
go.
great backstory for that name.
Thank you.
All right, so let's talk about this. So in our audience, people watching right now are folks thinking about going RIA. Give them some advice on how they can set up different ways or however you want to take this, but what guidance can you offer?
Yeah, so one of the first thing I'd say is really think about what type of independence you want. The path to independence can be very layered, and there's a decision tree that happens there. So if it's you tucking into an established RIA, there are experts out there who can help you navigate that terrain. Now, if you want to go completely independent and have your own RIA and take on all the risks and rewards, there are experts like myself and other of my colleagues who co-authored this book that can help you in areas concerning sales and marketing, practice management, operations, technology, compliance. This book is really a guidebook to help those individuals navigate the terrain with confidence, because we know the decision tree, it's layered, Chuck,
Yes, it
right?
is.
And you can't Google your way out of this one.
Yes, or you can't even chat GPT your way out of it.
No, you can't.
The best way is, and we talk about this all the time, and that's why I'm at so many conferences throughout the year. I think I cover now 8 or 9, maybe 10 conferences next year because we've added a couple more. goRIA.com, great resource. Your book, a great resource. But and tell me if you disagree with this. I think the best resource is coming to these conferences and talking to other advisors that did the same thing.
Yes.
Join groups, join the FPA. I'm actually a board member of the local FPA in Connecticut, and when I was going RIA, the best resource I had was talking with other members of that local chapter that already went RIA. What do you think about that?
The value and the wisdom in these groups, the FPA and others around the nation, are so valuable. In particular, the FPA NorCal Conference that has been going on now for 53 years it is a community of people who have taken the terrain before you,
Yeah.
right? And it's such a welcoming environment, the FPA in particular, where you can talk with people who have done this before you and
Yeah.
really get that inspiration and get that encouragement. Because I will tell you, as a business owner now running my firm for almost 7 years, you will need your people, and you will really
Without
need
question.
that community to help you get to that next level of success in your business. You can't do it alone.
Absolutely not. And in addition to being just a wealth of information, the folks that attend these conferences and belong to the FPA, which again, I've been a member for a long, long time, I'm no longer shocked, but I was shocked on how open they were about sharing the details of their business. I was like, they were sharing some very intimate things, like how they structure their fee structure, how they do their staffing. I was like, wow, I mean, technically we're competitors, and this is not at the national, this was at like local Connecticut meetings where I was talking to someone that had an office, 3 blocks from mine, and we're talking openly about really detailed things. And I was always really impressed by that, on how willing these people are to share the good, the bad, and the ugly on what made them successful.
Yeah, I think the consensus is they know how hard it is. And the financial planning profession is a very giving profession, not only to clients, but to colleagues as well. And I think deep down we want our colleagues to be successful. And so giving the chance to let them know, hey, this is what I experienced. This is what happened to me, to help save them the trouble of having to go through the same thing. And at the end of the day, deep down, I believe we all want each other to win.
All right, real good. So let's pivot a little bit to some more specificity, which we like to do here on goRIA. And something we're actually looking to add to our website is a toolbox.
Okay.
Right, so we have a lot of content up there now, which is fantastic, but we want some evergreen things, like checklists and how to do pro formas. And I did have the chance to go through your book, because you were kind enough to send me a copy, with a nice little note, and thank you very much for
You're
that.
very welcome.
But maybe walk through, if you would, just how the book is formatted, because I think it's really brilliant on how you did that and covered all, I'm not sure if it's all, but probably close to all the different things that people want to at least think about as they make their plans to move.
Yeah, absolutely. And so in selecting the co-authors for this book, who are all experts in their own right, it was important for us to start the book out with, where are you in life? What has shifted your reality? What's no longer working for you? And if independence is what you want, let's really take a hard look at where you're at now, what's the driving factor of that, and then where you want to go. Once the book opens up with that concept, it gets people thinking, okay, well, there are options, and what are the options? Tucking into an existing RIA or building your own standalone RIA. And then the book just continues to progress into financials. That's an important part of building your own.
Sure.
And compliance, figuring out what that particular piece looks like. There's client stories that are also in the book. In my chapter in particular, I highlighted 2 of my clients who went independent and the journey that they went through, right? Those real life stories are so impactful because people want to see themselves in others.
Yes.
And you will get a lot of that in the book, as well as seminars, sales and marketing strategies. And then the appendix of the book is actually a checklist. You mentioned earlier around a due diligence resource and checklist. You can follow that if that's something that you want to do in terms of going fully independent.
I tell you what, as my wheels are thinking on live streaming here, maybe we'll talk offline about this, and maybe get that checklist up on goRIA.com and print it back to the book.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
thank
think
you
our
for
audience will
offering
like to
that.
have that. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, because what I found is, the decision tree is there, then it's the practical steps. What kind of structure, how are you going to legally, set up your entity?
Yeah.
What types of clients are you going to work with? What is your initial marketing plan and strategy? I haven't even touched on technology yet. These are the core pieces that I really believe need to be in place so you have that strong foundation, and then as you progress through this decision and this new path, you're so much more confident to make those decisions. And as a new business owner, being able to confidently make the decisions and make them in good order are going to save you a lot of time and money on the back end.
You know what? I spoke with Jessie Chad earlier this morning.
Yeah.
Do you know Jessie?
I do.
Yeah. And so she was talking about transition stuff, and she brought up something that it seems like obvious, but I never really thought about it. And as you're making your plans for anything, it's a general thing, but we made it relate to the going RIA idea, was there's so many things to do, categorize them to things that need to be done now, things that need to be done soon, and things you don't need to worry about for a while. And I was like, what a great way to turn all these decisions you have to make into kind of more of a palatable, digestible, bite-sized pieces. What a great idea.
Yeah, and it makes sense because we all have lives and families, and we're busy, and you want to get the right things done in the right timing, and that's another
that's what made me
key
think about
factor.
that. Yeah.
Because there's certain things that you don't want to turn on or activate when you're building your own RIA. For example, you want to wait until your compliance documents are fully approved before you decide to launch that website.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Yeah, and you also want to wait.
I don't want to interrupt, but maybe something you wouldn't think about if you've been at Merrill Lynch for 25 years, because why would you?
Yeah, you wouldn't think about that.
Right.
So there's a certain order of operations that happens when you are launching an RIA. And in my advisor launch program, I work with advisors to not only go through that checklist that's at the back of the book, but the timing of those particular steps as well, so that you do things in good order. We don't raise any red flags for the compliance folks, and you make sure that you're launching from a strong place.
All right, that sounds good. That sounds like a good place to put a pin in it for today.
Yeah.
And do you want to just show that book one more time?
Happy to.
And I'm sure they could just Google it and figure out a way to get it, or
Yeah,
you tell them.
it's available on Amazon. It's Beyond the Broker, Navigating Financial Advisory Independence, and you can also go to www.gobeyondthebroker.com for more information.
Fantastic. Cameo Roberson, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Always
you
a
so
pleasure.
much, Chuck.
Okay.
This is great.
All right, so stay tuned. We have one more to go, and we're ending with a real great one. Stay tuned. We'll be back in about 45 minutes. Thanks again.